Hello again my YouTube brethren, Beta Male Soy Boys, and Nikki Avocado. Yep, rub that egg in your face you beautiful disaster you. Jesus man, what is going on in your head? So I made a tutorial to install a web UI, but left you edging because it's taking a while to make the part 2 video.
Turning kind of red. It's like his whole body is ashamed of what's about to happen.
In retrospect, I should have probably created them together. But you're here now, and you're queer. So let's get into it. That's definitely what he said. So just like last time, I have a shopping list for you to download. Again, this is all free, so don't worry guy in your mom's basement. Download and install everything in the list in the video description. We will need VLC player and an optional Krytar app, as well as FFmpeg. If you don't know what Krytar is, it's a free Photoshop that can also animate. FFmpeg will have you save that animation into a video. Technically FFmpeg is all you need, but I felt it would be hard to remember that method as it relies on Linux command line / terminal interface. Since we are not robots or super nerds, it opted to try a more user-friendly way. Just use the link to get the zip file in my video description, and right-click on it, and extract all to a folder somewhere, and we will link that to Krytar in a bit. I will make a tutorial soon on how to install Stable Diffusion into Krytar. If you look at my app you will notice Stable Diffusion is in the app on the right hand side there. You will still need to run web UI before making this work, but it's exactly like the web UI install process, with one extra step. You will have to install and enable a plugin through the Krytar app. Whoa, it seems like I have a hard time saying Krytar. That is on my list of things that are hard to say, along with the word meta. Here is some other things that are hard to say.
3 of the hardest things for people to say. I was wrong. I need help. And Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce.
I will divide this tutorial into 3 parts. The first part is the image extraction from the video. The second part is a Stable Diffusion image to image batch creation. And the last part is the reanimation. So let's get into this. First and foremost you will need a sample video to manipulate. I suggest you go to pixabay.com and grab one. Preferably one that's under 30 seconds. I'll left a link in the description, but if you already have a video in mind, on YouTube, click on my how to download YouTube video link which will be at the top right.
The f are you doing? That crazy dancing making my penis soft.
I don't know how I predicted it will be there. It's magic. Okay, by now you should have downloaded and installed VLC, so open it up. Now click on Tools at the top, click on Preferences, then go to the bottom of the Preferences window and there will be a radio button near the bottom left for Show Settings. Click on All. On the list to the left scroll down to Filters, then click on the arrow next to Filters, not on the word Filters, the arrow next to it, just follow along. Now you will see all your filters. Scroll down a bit and click on Scene Filter. Now you want your scene video filter menu to look like mine. Image format should be PNG or JPG. Leave width and height and prefix alone. Then for directory path you will have to copy a folder address from a folder you created by opening that new folder you created and press Alt+D then Ctrl+C, or simply by double clicking in the address bar and right clicking and copying the address. Put that address in VLC's directory path prefix. This is where all your generated images will go. For recording ratio, I will leave it at 50. Anything lower will make a crap ton of images, but you will have a smoother animation. Anything higher, you guessed it, will give you less images. Aren't you the smart one?
Some kind of Tabasco?
No.
Come.
What? Come again?
Once you got all your settings right, go ahead and click save. I'm going a bit fast, but these instructions will be in the video description, so don't worry about it.
Hey man, what do you mean don't worry about it?
This next step will seem like deja vu, but go into your tools menu again, click on preferences, and yup, go into show settings and click all. Scroll down to filters, but wait, this time you're clicking on the word filters, and not on the arrow. Now you will see a list of all your filters you can activate. We want to click on the scene video filter on the top right. Just click in the box, and then click on save, and restart your VLC player. By restart I mean, close the VLC player, and open it up again. Stop looking for a restart button. Now you can go ahead and open up your video in VLC player by dragging the video file into the player, or clicking on media at the top left and selecting open to look for your file, and it will probably automatically play. If you have your VLC output folder open, you will see images created every 50th of a second. Alright, now we're cooking with gas, and we should have our output images, which will be the input for our output later. There is a joke there, but I'm going to be the better man and just walk away. Okay, we have our input files is what I meant to say.
Crazy dancing making my penis soft.
Now let's open Stable Diffusion. You have watched part 1 of my video, right? Oh god. If you haven't, go ahead and click on the link at the top and do that first. I don't even know how you got here. Quick refresher on how to run the app. Open up your web UI batch file in your Stable Diffusion folder. Then type 127.0.0.1:7860 in your web browser. Then press enter, and just like that it's running. If it's not running, then your web UI is still loading, or you touched it recently. I'm talking about the web UI. We already know the answer to the other one.
Because you touch yourself at night.
Now for the important process. Technically you can just batch load all the files now and YOLO it, but it may not produce the results you expect. You can jump forward if you want to do that. So, now we are looking at Stable Diffusion, and Stable Diffusion is looking at you, thinking, are you going to give me instructions? Yes. Click on the image to image tab at the top to access what we need. Now grab one of the files in your VLC output directory and drop it in the section where it says drop images here. I know, right? Who would have guessed it? Also, make sure you choose a picture that is not blurry, for obvious reasons. Now, click on the interrogate button at the top right, and we're going to ask this picture where it was on the night of the 5th. Actually, this is a function that will do a reverse image prompt, and the robot will give you what it thinks this picture is, which is very important for putting the stable in Stable Diffusion. If you don't specify on the prompt, the system's imagination will go crazy. Okay, we have a description now, but we want to narrow it down even further by putting extra words in the text prompt. If you have a female, is she young or old, beautiful or ugly, skinny or big boned? What's her ethnicity? Asian, African, Caucasian? Is there a theme? Is she a witch or something like a furry? Then what is she wearing? Tank top, shirt, swimsuit, or absolutely nothing? You know, the usual stuff. By the way, if you want your character to be wearing pants every time, you can put nudity or nude in the negative prompt to make it more safe for work. This tells the system what you don't want. Technically nothing is safe for work, and you should be working and not uploading images of your boss into Stable Diffusion to turn him into a human-dog hybrid. You terrible employee. Get back to work, you sloth. Before we go down the options for Stable Diffusion, we will start at the bottom. Go to script and click on the drop down to select image to image alternative test, and copy your prompt from above you interrogated and refined in the below new text box that says original prompt. Make the decode CFG scaler 3 in steps to 25. We will talk about that in a second. Now we will go over this next part pretty quick, so look in the video description for step-by-step instructions. First, sampling size equals quality, and the more steps you want the slower it will process. Keep it under 30. Next is sampling method. I would just stick with Euler or Euler A. For width and height you want to slide them till the image is covered with a red box, or close to covering it. Next, check macro store faces to enable GFP GAN. If you don't see this option, you didn't listen to me when I said to download GFP GAN, you bad boy. Oh well. For batch count and size, leave it at 1 or your video card might run out of VRAM during the process and you will have a bad time. CFG scale, or classifier free guidance scale, Actually erase that actual term from your head and replace it with creativity scale. Basically means the higher the number the more colorful and creative your picture will end up being. If you put it too high, it will be like that scene from Pixar's Inside Out where they turn into 2D images and you might not recognize your image.
Never seen this before.
Now let's take a look at denoising strength. Anything under 0.20 will give you note a little change, and over 80 will give you a cartoony look. I highly recommend to experiment with these two options, as it will affect your picture the most. I would say keep it between 25 and 50, or your video will be all over the place. Last but not least, click on the green recycle icon on seed. This will create a seed hash to help keep your image stable, and literally recycle something close to that seed. Once you're done playing with the picture and get the style you want, it's time for batch processing to convert all the other images the same way. Now, click on the subtab that says batch image to image, which is found below your prompt. All your settings should be good from our previous step. If not, you know how to adjust it now. The final thing we need to do is add the input and output directory. So starting with your input folder, this will be the folder that we created VLC images in earlier. Just put that address in the input directory. I also created a folder named stable Diffusion output on my desktop. I will use the address for that folder in the stable diffusion output directory path. Once you have put those things in, just click the big orange button to generate. This will take a long time, as it will have to convert each image. You might want to walk away for 30 minutes and make sure your power settings don't allow your computer to sleep during the process. But before you walk away, make sure there is action in the web UI box, or nothing will be happening, and you will come back 30 minutes later, thinking to yourself, nothing was actually happening. Jesus, I should have checked the web UI box like the robotic voice told me.
Told you.
Once the process is finished, go into your stable diffusion outlook folder you created and take a look at your pictures. If you like what you see or want to animate them, let's do that now. The first option is the path of least resistance or easiest way. We are going to animate this in VLC Player. Before we do that, open up VLC Player, go into Tools, click on Preferences. Now, click on the Subtitles OSD icon at the top, and in this menu you want to uncheck Show Media Title on Start. Then click Save. If you don't do this, you will see subtitles during the entire video. VLC Player seems to have to restart every time you change settings. So if you still see the subtitles, give VLC a quick restart. Now we have to configure the animation / very fast slideshow. Go to Tools, then Preferences, then click on the radio button all, under Show All, at the bottom left. Now scroll down to Settings for Input Codec, and let's expand the subsetting for demuxes, by clicking on the arrow next to demuxes, not on demuxes itself. Now under demuxes there is an option for images. Let's change the duration to 0.20. And see what this looks like. Restart VLC Player, and then go to Media, open multiple files. Click on the Add button, find the folder your stable diffusion shat your pictures out. You might notice at this point there is nothing in that folder. You will have to select the drop down box at the bottom right to allow to see all files. Once you do that, you will see all your files. Select all of the files in here, and click on Open, then click Play, and you should have an animated version of your pictures. You can record this using Video by pressing Alt plus F9 to start the recording, and then find the saved recording in its default Windows Videos folder / desktop folder. If you had AMD you couldn't do this anyways, so don't worry about it.
Hey man, what do you mean don't worry about it? I bought that bitch a drink.
But Daniel, that's not good enough for me. I want to animate this and save it to a file instead of that janky ass process. This is where Krita comes in. If you have it installed, you can open it up now. You should have also installed FFmpeg as it will be needed for the export of your animation to video. To animate we first need to add some tools to this tool. By going to Settings, check mark the options, Timeline and Onion Skin. Timeline is for your sequential timeline, so you know what you're doing. Onion Skin is to see what image you're on. This is a very intuitive tool, and feel free to drag any toolbar around your app, no problem. I like the onion skin to the right of my timeline, so I will just click on it and move it. Yep, I wish every program was this easy. First drag the first image from your exports into the blank canvas. You will notice, if you don't do this, you won't get the option to import animation to frames. Once you drag that first frame in, go to File, and then click on Import Animation to Frames. Then an order box will pop up. Click on Add Images and select all the images from your Stable Diffusion exported pics you want to reanimate. Now, you will see your timeline fill up. Now you can just press play to animate. Alrighty, we're almost done. We just need to convert this to video and save this file. Go to File and select Render Animation. First choose the frames per second or FPS. Since I have very few frames and I want this video to have a more weird, stylized aesthetic, I want 5 frames per second, but smooth animation will occur around 24 FPS. Now, we have to link FFmpeg to this tool. Remember that zip file we downloaded and extracted earlier? You did extract it right. Anywho, find that unzip file location using the Crytars folder navigation from the order box. Then choose the FFmpeg file. Then we will need to choose the video location. I simply chose my desktop. You can organize your stuff, but ain't nobody got time for that. One important thing to mention, when you work with files like FFmpeg and other Linux-based programs that were ported over, your antivirus might pop off. You can try alternate versions of the file, so you don't get a warning, but this is coming from the original site, if you follow the root address on my link. In any case, I left the link to the official site if you want to look for the files manually. Alternatively, you can still use the Alt plus F9 record option through NVIDIA, just full screen Crytar, and adjust the % speed above the timeline docker bar we added earlier. The choice is yours. Just to recap, if you followed me through this entire tutorial, you installed a web UI to allow backend communication through your local host address, through port 7860, to the Stable Diffusion using the automatic 1111 repository files, which will translate to installing most other version of Stable Diffusion on GitHub repositories. You successfully installed Python, PyTorch, Git, which is a development operations tool for source code management and regulation / self-repair. You learned how to extract images from a video as well as adjust the rate of extraction via scene filters. And you also rebuilt the frames either through demuxes on VLC or the animation feature on Crytar, which makes you an animator. You used the alternative image to image test in Stable Diffusion to convert and stylize batch image processing. Then you learn to import frames into Crytar utilizing frame by frame animation and exporting it using FFmpeg. You should pat yourself on the back now, because you learned quite a few skills in a short amount of time. If you like learning about cool things in a manageable, easy to learn style, just subscribe to this channel, which give me the energy to create more videos and dive deeper into the world of AI and emerging technologies. I'm sure you can do a much better job on the image to videos, and it takes some patience to get the right image. I just needed the subject to be stylized, so you get the gist. Also, thank you to my 2 subscribers for the feedback. Yes, my screen is huge, and I started to crop the videos so you're not looking at a lot of blank space. And yes, I should upload a tutorial with 2 parts at the same time. Thanks for stopping by, and let me know what you eager beavers would like to know more about. And as always, sayonara, aloha, adios, vagian, alavida, aniyan, paralam, and please come again.
Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small, way back before we blew it all. Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small, way back before we blew it all. Too many things going on, I can't keep track of them all. From people dropping a bomb to people putting up walls. I feel like life is on hold, perception stuck in a vault. I know that time can heal all, but how much time till we fall? It's awfully chilly outside when there's no shelter to hide. When everything is a lie, you'll find that out.